This is
Hi.
Pranav from Edu TV, the first education channel. Today we have Madam Kacker with us, the famous Jyoti Kacker. She is the principal of Gaurs International School, Yamuna Expressway. She has got more than 30 years of experience in education, and she has taught in best of the schools, and she has taken up the school pretty well. In a very short span of time, she have she has taken up the strength of the school to a very high number. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pranav. It's indeed a pleasure to be there on this wonderful platform and somebody who's so driven. Like, when I see your interviews, I feel really great to be connected because somebody doing something for education. It excites me, it encourages me, and it drives me every single day. So thank you so much for having me on your platform. It's a pleasure indeed.
And I think, ma'am, you are doing a lot of work in this domain. Miss Principal, as you are into child psychology, also I was going through your profile, ma'am, how a passive and reluctant students can be transformed to active and enthusiastic student. Over to you, Madam Jyoti.
Wonderful question, Pranav. It is children, I believe, not a single child. That is, nobody is born with a kind of a mindset which is actually just passive per se, or where there is lack of total curiosity. I think it is the moment the child is born, we as parents, first of all, the initial years before the child actually comes to the school, we need to understand that our children are born with an intellectual arena. We need to understand the curiosity level of a child as the child is growing up. So if I talk about the school, uh, cut to like initial years of growth, and then 3 years, 3 plus, the child comes to us. Or nowadays it is preschoolers also before the kindergarten. So I think the child and the parents of the children and the teacher should believe in 5 E's. I believe the E. First E is let the child explore. 2, let the child experience. 3, let the child express. Whatever the child has experienced, the child needs to express. 4, let the child engage. And 5, let the child excel. Because unless and until, sorry, if we are not allowing the child to be whatever he or she feels within the potential, we do not know. So we cannot make the child be developed with a kind of a setup. Unfortunately, these days we have in schools, it is read to learn. It should be read to learn. What are we doing? We make the child the receivers and we are making them learn to read. If the child is just at the receptive age, psychologically understand, there are a lot many questions churning in the child's mind when the child is reading something, for example, and we are not allowing the child to actually express himself or herself. What are we doing? We are just feeding that brain to whatever we think, oh, we are intelligent, we are the grown up, we are the teacher, we are a parent. So there, I think it scums, it retards the growth of that intellectual arena of the child's brain, where the child is born with all the, I think the blessing is there. So there's nothing like a passive child. We need to encourage, we need to motivate, we need to throw questions, we need to first be very passive listeners ourselves. I believe so. We should be passive in our action, but listeners with concentration, so that let the child express what the child wants to say. And that is how I think with the instructional domain planned, we have so many steps. How the child's passive brain, if it is considered to be passive, I do not consider that, we can actually motivate or trigger the thinking cells in the child's brain.
Ma'am, I think you explained very nicely. Ma'am, as you are a child psychologist also, we have got many questions for you. My next question is, ma'am, how curiosity can be inculcated in students, which is going down since pandemic, because students are hooked to Google nowadays. And in Google, it is not necessarily the information will be correct. Whatever someone has posted, the Google will extract the word from there. Over to you, Madam Jyoti.
Right. Again, a wonderful question. Schools have opened after almost 2 years with the physical interaction between the teacher herself and not the computer being the teacher anymore. I think the teachers need to be, groomed more. Then we talk about the child. It has to be more of the teachers' training sessions, making them understand that the teacher needs to allow the child, again, I believe in those 5 E's. Experiential learning comes very, very handy where a teacher is concerned and the child is allowed to explore. So if I talk about the curiosity level, how can we inculcate the curiosity level in the children these days? The teacher needs to take the child to different workstations which are going to be there in the classroom. Allow the child to have the experience, allow the child to ask questions, be a guide and a support to the child rather than somebody the child leans on as a pillar. I believe a teacher needs to be more of a pillar of support than a crutch to the child. So if I take my child to the activity room like I have in my school, there are different workstations. So if I talk about a supermarket workstation, for example, or a kitchen setup, the child will actually, when taken to these workstations, will understand, oh, this is a supermarket, this is the grocery section, this is the counter section, this is how, I call them with the fake currency. We teach them the interaction, how you actually make the payment of the bill, because a child is standing in a big bazaar or, a supermarket. Child is observing how the daddy or the mother is making the payment. This is the trolley where the groceries are kept. These are the stalls from where we are picking up the stuff. But there are many questions there churning inside the child. We need to give them a platform to express themselves, to perform, and of course, to be a guide to the child so that the child learns the right nuances of that particular section. Likewise, if it is a kitchen, toddlers we've seen, Pranav, that they are very curious. They would, once they start moving, crawling, they would open a drawer in the kitchen, take out the stuff, whatever. They enjoy the noise. Probably that can be music to them, but they are interested in understanding what is there in this drawer. So the curiosity level, again, what I said, the 5 E's, need us to give them the platform to experience. And for that, we need to have the modules redrafted rather than a kind of a teaching module that we've been following, which is chalk and board method. I think we need to do away with this. We need to give them a platform to stand up, observe, absorb, and yes, give us a question. So our lesson plan needs to be planned. Our mode of teaching, our mode of instruction, our methodology needs to differ now, keeping in mind the exposure the children have already had because of the pandemic to the electronic media. So they are, in a way, abreast with so many things which we think, oh, they are children, they will not understand this. I think we need to work on our structured approach we were following for ages to a non-structured approach where teacher knows it's structured, but for children and parents, it's like, oh, let them explore. Our lesson plan modules needs to be worked. Our workstation in every school, I think we need to have an activity room where there are different workstations to let the children go and experience there. This is what I think, I can go on. So just to bring it to a closure, this particular answer, I think we need to give them a platform to experience, and teachers need training session very, very importantly post-pandemic.
Thank you so much, Madam Jyoti. I'm sure like this will be useful for all the stakeholders of education. And we will keep on disturbing you as you are doing child psychology. So, ma'am, we will keep on disturbing you for various queries, inquiries we have from parents, teachers, principals, even owners of schools also. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am,
It's a pleasure.
say one liner for us also, something good about it off the record, on the records now. Over to you. Just
Good about you. Yeah.
about EduTV.
About
About
EduTV.
EduTV.
Oh, great. Pranav, this is, I'm very new to EduTV, as very recently I subscribed to your channel. I heard the Mayo, General Kulkarni speaking. I heard a few other principals who were on board. Since General Kulkarni I met, so very quickly I could relate to his name. You are doing an amazing job through EduTV, Pranav. Education is not one section, which is, a box. We need to just open it up, take out the chits, follow the age-old methods, the conservative approach. I think it's a Pandora's box. And you are helping us, all the educators, to understand each other when we listen to the interviews that you are conducting, sharing of our mutual vibes, sharing of our mutual thought process, our perspectives is, I think, a progressive approach, so that we as peers, we insist on peer learning and peer assessment for our children. I think we, the leaders, also need to be very open to the ideas and be peer learners. Now, where do we go? We don't meet too many people around. We are chit-chatting on a very informal way, but EduTV has given a platform where there is some sensible stuff happening. And it is interesting to listen to the people, the seasoned educators. And of course, learning is an ongoing process. And I think if I'm an eager learner, people like me who come on your platform do benefit after the session gets over and they listen to the other co-educator. It's a learning. So you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job. It's a matter of principles as your, logo. It is not, but I think that is your little message. If the leader, the principal, is a leader in true sense, self-driven, self-motivated, the entire school with the teachers and the children will be a wonderful place. And you are doing one wonderful job in this field. So God bless you, Pranav. God bless EduTV. And may you go from strength to strength.
Hi,